the newscaster NGTV right here in the city of Lagos. What's up? What's going on? Where are you at the moment? Are you having fun? Because I'm about to have a very serious fun right here in the studio. Welcome to another interesting, educating, informative, and definitely entertaining show right here on Newscaster. This is Breaking Barriers. Yes, on Breaking Barriers, you already know what we do. We bring icons, we bring people who have felt head and tail to be in the forefront of our today's society, talking about Nigeria and in the diaspora. Of course, on Breaking Barriers, we believe that nothing is unachievable when you have your mind fixed on it. Talking about achievements and the likes, I have a powerful fish in the studio. Do not forget that sometimes we tend to want to blend up our discussions with a little of Yoruba, here and there to just bring it home and make sure that you understand where we're going. A Yoruba man would say, I regional, me, I rabuke okere, tabapelodo, areja si oyaro. Meaning that nothing is impossible when you fix your mind at it. Bringing impossibility down to being possible is why we are here today again in the studio. Join me as I welcome an icon, a star. I just want to call her a star because she is actually more than a star. But let me just call her a star because stars can never be hidden. Even at night, they shine through the moon. A lovely morning to you. I would leave you to just, I want to see the way you pronounce your name. Maybe you know how to, do
It's my
justice.
name.
It's your name. Okay, so let me see how you pronounce it.
Yeah. Titilayo Oduba.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Titilayo
Oh.
Obibambe. Okay, join me as I welcome my guest, Titilayo Obibambe, into the studio where we break barriers. On breaking barriers, actually, we talk about women, men who have been there in the forefront of our today's society. A whole lot of people tend to hide in their skin. Some people have something to give to the society. It's not every time we get to expect things from the government, from our parents, from our neighbors. Sometimes you have to search within you to bring out certain things to give, to the society. Like you're just dashing it out. And reading about you, I was when you came in, I said you're like an old woman in a young lady's body because I'm surprised. Reading about you, in fact, I'll just leave you to tell us about yourself. I don't know. I don't know if I can actually do justice to your biography.
Thank you very much. I always tell people that I'm still on the journey. I'm not gotten there yet. So, like she said, I'm Titilayo Oduba and I'm the founder of Marvelous Hands Africa. I'm also a Mandela Washington Fellow 2021, a One Champion 2019, and a Yali RLC Fellow in 2016. I'm also a UN Women Beijing Plus 25 Eaglet, selected by the UN Women Nigeria to be at the forefront of the progress of women in Nigeria. So I I don't know. I have so much of that profile
You
that
do.
I can't talk about. But that is just a brief introduction of myself, and we can take it from there.
Talking about yourself, I actually love your color. Someone with a very brief profile will say like, "I want to look so flawless." How? Let me be a little bit mild with you. How do you maintain your skin?
I like that we are, bringing humor to this program. For me, I think I'm just lucky with my skin. I have a daily routine to moisturize.
Okay.
Even though Lagos is is very humid, what I try to do is to use moisturizers that don't have oil so that they're not all sweating. But basically, I feel my skin. I'm just lucky with my skin. I don't have the acne and
Yes,
the
and I'm like, you're
yeah.
so fine.
Yeah, the only time I remember having maybe breakouts is when I was pregnant. I have two kids.
Wow.
Yeah, I have an 8-year-old and
You
a
don't
5-year
you don't
old.
look it.
Everybody says
I was gonna come there, but
yeah.
let's not talk about that because I don't know how you manage to have two kids with this, portfolio and all. Now you have an NGO where you have broken barrier, and you have an NGO that talks about empowering the girl child. You also have a book. That's a
Oh,
lot.
I forgot to put the author in my introduction.
Yeah.
I'm still getting there, used to it.
So I think we should start probably with your NGO, then we metamorphose into your book.
Okay, thank you so much. So like I said, I'm the founder of Boundless Hands Africa Initiative, and what we do at Boundless Hands Africa is to champion the end of gender-based violence. So in 2016, when I was selected for the Yali RLC Fellow, it's a program organized by the US government for young leaders in Africa. After I attended that fellowship, it was like opening up my mind. Before then, I actually started my career in the northern part of Nigeria. I told you I grew up in Jos, so I speak fluent Hausa, in fact, more than Yoruba. Yeah, so I grew up in Jos Plateau State, and growing up in a society where there was patriarchy, young girls were being married off even before the age of 10, 12. In my book, I actually wrote the story of my friend that was married off when we went to secondary school and came back. I didn't meet her when she was already married off. And then when I got into the university, I started to advocate. I was the vice president of ISEC Nigeria in Jos. So ISEC is an organization for young people, and what we used to do then was to create projects around different issues. So one of the projects I was really involved in was Project A. It was Project HIV and AIDS, and our focus then was to go into secondary schools and teach girls how to abstain from sex so that they cannot, be infected with HIV. I don't know if that will work right now, but in the 80s when I grew up, and that was in the late 90s through early 2000s. So it worked for the young girls because we taught them how to abstain from sexual, sexual activities so that they can avoid HIV and AIDS or any other diseases like STDs that come with it. And for some reason, when I finished my university, I found myself in Lagos. And even in Lagos, I was coming from more like a rural area where women, did not have a voice, they could not make their choices, where women were beaten, around me. Even though I came out from a family where my dad was educated and my mom was educated, I had 4 brothers and I had 1 sister. So, but we were treated equally. We, the girls, had the opportunity to make our choices and decide what we want to do. But around me, I had friends that were being married off. I had friends that were being beaten because they were girls. I had friends that were lucky. Do you understand? So coming to Lagos, and then I'm coming to an urban area, I'm seeing that these same issues exist.
You're coming to Lagos, was it?
NYSC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when I finished from the University of Jos, I came to serve in Lagos. And yeah, I was working in oil and gas there. But still, I had, issues of people suffering from gender-based violence and all that. And for some reason, I just got involved. I started to volunteer with Women and Rights Foundation. I don't know if you did. Dr. Julie, she's my mentor actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was a volunteer counselor with her. And when I go to be a counselor, like in a day, I hear stories of how women were killed, how some of them are beaten, how the girls are being treated. And sometimes I cry because it was that bad. And at the time I was counseling, that was when I got to Yali. After Yali, me and some friends of mine just decided to form this organization. And our, key aim was to go in the communities and enlighten girls and women how they can avoid to be victims of gender-based violence, how they can decide to be empowered, how they can decide to have financial capability, how they can make sure their children are educated so that they'll be something in the society. And when you're going into the communities to sensitize, to educate, and people are coming to you, oh, madam, my daughter was raped yesterday. Oh, my son was touched yesterday. We decided to increase our scope from just advocacy. We decided to increase our scope to organizations. We started to partner with organizations like the Mirabel Center and other organizations that handle these cases. So when these cases are being reported to us, we know where to direct them. And it's been a fantastic journey. We've been able to partner with, even with the Nigerian police. We are part of the organizations that is in charge of police accountability in Lagos. And so far, we've been able to execute over 40 programs in the battery community. They've been able to help over 178 women from the stage of where they reported to us to the stage of where we make sure they are safe and they are empowered. And even through our social media and all those areas, we've also been able to reach over 25,000 people through our activities. So that's an overview of our business.
I think it's a big one. You know what? When you were talking, sometimes in our society, when you see women like this stand up for what she stand up for, you'll be like, it's because she's been raped, it's because she has someone that has been raped, it's because she's been abused. But you picked up from your environment and you're like, okay, I don't think this is right. Now, after the whole journey of your NGO, your partnership, your involvement, and all, how did you become an author?
Okay, thank you very much. And taking it back to the questions I asked. One of the first times I went to a community in Lagos to, sensitize about gender-based violence, a woman came up to me and asked me. She didn't want people around to hear her question. So she put me by the side and said, Mama, did I just have a question for you? Have you been sexually abused or were you raped or have you been beaten before? And obviously not to, because I knew that for her to ask that question, she wanted to know if she, and then she wanted to know if she could confide in me. And I didn't want to be on the defensive. So what I told her, Mama, I don't have to have been raped or sexually abused to feel the pain that any woman or any girl child or any boy feels if they go through these encounters. And that was the beginning of the journey. She was suffering from gender-based violence and our organization helped her from start to finish. Now she's free with her children, taking care of them and empowered. So like I always tell people when I go out and they're asking me these questions, it's our community, it's our society. Like you don't have to be a victim before we do something about it. The statistics over the world says that in every 3 women, one of them have gone 3 women or girl, one of them have encountered sexual violence or any form of violence abuse. So imagine if you have 3 daughters, doesn't mean one of them will face sexual violence. So for me, I don't have to. I have a daughter and I need to protect her with the whole of my life. So it's our cause as a society. Like you don't have to be a victim to advocate to
Wow. So, you're talking about your major driving force. Would you want to share us this force that has pushed you? I know you've talked about the fact that your environment, talked about the fact that you tend to want to share feelings with other people. Are there other forces? Maybe when you were growing up, maybe you had an experience with your mother, your father, even though they are educated. Was there something that really triggered you and I'm like, I'm taking up this?
So for me, a lot of forces. A lot of forces. I mentioned to you that I started my career in the on the oil and gas, and I was in procurement, technical procurement. So I had to contest or work with men.
Because even after school, somebody like you would just like I had a dream, you would just bury it. Maybe after leaving just you just bury it. That has to go.
So I think the
Lagos.
thing,
I have to enjoy my life.
Of course, I enjoy my life. No, obvious. Yeah. So the truth about it is that for me, I always had that vision to be a leader in whatever I'm doing, and I always, just want to be stand out from whatever I'm doing. So one of the driving force I must say is that In fact, let me take you to a story back. I remember my mom telling me that there's an uncle of ours that used to come to the house, and when he comes, he asks you what you want to be, or he checks your result, who does well, he gives him money and all that. And one of those days, they asked him, "What do you want to be?" And I stood up and told him, "Uncle, I want to be a president." And I was, maybe 6 or 7. Obviously, my dream and all that has shifted from being a president. Well, my vision and driving force has always been there are societies that are working. There are societies that people can, say this is what I want to be and they become. My friend I was married of when we were, about 11 or 12, I remember clearly she said she wanted to be a doctor. I said I wanted to be a lawyer. Some years down the line, she died because she died at the point of childbirth. So that alone continues to be a driving force. Not only her, every girl child that has not been allowed to achieve her potentials because she's a girl. Every girl child that has been, sexually, knowingly or unknowingly, is my driving force. All I want to see is the world, even the boys. Boys are being violated and molested these days. Yeah. Men are being victims too these days. We've had a series of stories in the news recently that women are killing their husbands. That is domestic violence. So for me, the creating an environment or a society where everybody can live and dream to be safe and also have to be able to achieve whatever potentials they set to achieve. Gender equality doesn't mean women are fighting because people say, "Oh, we're feminists, we are this, we are that." It doesn't mean we're fighting to be the head or the leg of the tail. It means that we want equal opportunities to be given to both male and female. It shouldn't be given to me because I'm a man or I'm a female. Let us have equal opportunities. There are roles these days up till now that they still say, "Oh, we want a male, somebody to take this role, and we want a female." Look at our society, look at our government, look at the parliament. Even how many women do we have in that space? So, for me, I just want a situation where we can have a balanced society where women will be able to achieve their potential, where women's voices will count. And for us to be able to have those society, women need to get to the table of decision making. And that is why I do what I do.
Talking about women, you will agree with me that a woman starts from being a girl child. And before you become a woman, you must be a baby girl and you grow into a lady and you become a woman. You cannot just wake up as a housewife who doesn't have, an iota of knowledge of where you're going to or where you have been and you want to just be in the forefront or you want to be part of government. This is something that is inborn. When you talk about breaking barriers, you don't just see them waking up one morning because they have money. I want to go there as a woman. No, she has been able to grow the star in her. And that is why she is not talking for herself or her girl child. She is talking for everyone called a woman or a girl out there. And she is an author. I don't know. Sometimes when you talk about authors, I'm just like I don't want to be but I don't want to relate with them because sometimes I wonder what's going through their heads. You pick up your pen just because you have a little story to share, you start writing. I'm like, how do you even write until you get so many pages and you have a book?
Yeah.
I want to hear about it.
I know, right? And my own story is even different because I didn't even write the book about myself. I wrote it about other people's stories. Anyway, so the journey for me since 2016 when I founded Boundless Hands Africa has been, you know, being involved in other people's lives. And for other people's life, you wouldn't know about it, and every other person in the society wouldn't know about it only if somebody speaks. We know the culture of silencing
our community and our societies, whereby people that are victims or survivors of gender-based violence don't want to speak about it. People that their husbands are beaten, they really don't want to speak about it. It's a family matter. Even sometimes when we get to the police will tell you that it's a family matter. Go and settle it at home. We even know in news about a governor, I think the Benue State governor, former governor, that a medical doctor was beaten and they went to him for solution. He settled the case and said, go back home. You get. So for me, working with survivors and victims of gender-based violence, I needed people when you are dealing with this kind of a case, you always be sad if you don't, make yourself be happy on purpose.
Your archive will just blow you up one
And
day.
then I called her. I was like, oh, this is the situation I have. There was a lady. Now there was nowhere she could go. I couldn't bring her to my house. She just needed a safe place for her and her children. And at that time, organizations that were rescues for gender-based violence were not even seen as what do they call it? Like emergency rescues. And so I called her and said, this is the situation I'm going through, and I really even don't know how to help this lady. And she said, Titi, okay, I know, but you just have to take it easy. And then another thing I've been meaning to tell you about is that these stories, how will people hear about it? And I started saying, well, I don't have energy about this thing. We'll talk about it later. And then that same week, an organization reached out to me because obviously I'm involved with a lot of organizations around the world. And they said, we're encouraging more female African leaders to be authors. Are you interested in being part of this program? I said, why not? And I thought, oh, maybe this my friend has seen the vision. No. And that was how I keyed into it. It was a very smooth journey for me because there was already a starting point to writing the book. I already had the stories, I had my data. We have our database that we record people's stories, progress, how they, advance and how. And then I shared it with them and they said, this is fantastic. These are the kind of stories you want to hear. Is there a way you can put these stories together in different chapters? So in the book Emerge, rising from the shadows of gender-based violence. That's the title of my book. Yeah.
Can you say that again?
Emerge, rising from the shadows of sexual and gender-based violence. So the idea is for women to, break barriers, break the barriers of patriarchy, of gender-based violence and all. And then I decided to structure the book in 10 chapters. The first chapter is on child marriage. Obviously, the story of my friend is there. The second chapter is on domestic abuse. I had people that were facing domestic abuse, where we had their stories, their progress. But the main focus is that you read those sad stories, but at the end of each chapter, we have strategies and recommendations where individuals, governments, community leaders, and everybody can be part of the solution. That is how unique Emerge is. And I'm writing it from the point of, I know these people. These are true life stories, but their names are not there, so you never know who I'm talking about. They are wherever their location is not there, so you never know who I'm talking about. But the main thing is that Emerge is an educational tool. So the dream for Emerge is to get in the hands of every girl in secondary schools, to get in the hands of our service providers like the police that are involved in creating solutions. Because recommendations and strategies are there that all of us can use and create the safe environment we want for our communities.
Oh my God. Sometimes when people read books, they'll be like, I want to read like a romantic, kind of novel. I want to read an action novel. And you see this book, I'm seeing the picture of, it getting into our secondary schools. Now, for instance, if every girl child, and even a boy,
No, girls and
because
boys
sometimes
actually.
women raise this.
Exactly. That's what I tell
so-called
women when I go into the
abusers.
community. That these boys are being raised by women.
Women.
So we just have to, it has to be a holistic. We have to do a top, bottom, top approach. Children have to be sensitized and educated. Why parents too have to be sensitized and, educated on how to raise very, sound children that will know the wrong between the right and how to treat women, basically. And to finish up, Image is actually a very big book. It's about 168 pages.
Okay.
So when I started writing, and it kept getting bigger and big, I'm like, oh my god, when will I ever stop? But it was interesting for me. So I just kept writing and writing. I remember when I sent the book to my sister. My sister is in Georgia and Atlanta. And she was like, how on earth am I going to read this book? It's too big. So our strategy is that when we get to the schools to distribute this book for free, when people, we're trying to solicit for people to fund this project, we will create book clubs. So they are not reading it as stories, they are reading it as an activity. Book club, you read the story, you come
and
to the club, we discuss about it, we discuss about the story. What will you do if you were in this situation? So that the knowledge will be passed on.
And you don't even have to munch it all,
No,
at once.
so just give them chapters,
your
they read, we
time.
come back to them, we discuss the chapter, we discuss the strategy, and we put them in those situations, basically.
You already have your glass of water close to you, because I know we won't be having much time, but I am definitely, this is me saying, I'm definitely going to bring her back into the studio. I don't know how it will happen, because I know she's a very, very busy person, but I think for the 5 minutes, 1 hour, even 2 hours is not enough for us to talk about this, because you will not know, you may not know who is watching, who needs to learn, who needs a helping hand, and who wants to reach out to someone. We'll definitely be sharing her phone number and, of course, her social media handles, or means by which you can reach her on. Before we went on that break, of course, this is Breaking Barriers on Newsbuster NG TV. My name is Olayinka Olatunji, and I have with me Titilayo Obibambi in the studio. This is one star of a woman who has decided that empowering the girl child can go a long way to improve our society of mothers, improve our society of sisters, to improve our society of female leaders, and of course, to have a beautiful society where men and women can cohabit. Before we went on that break, I was talking about you getting financial support, maybe from governmental offices or private offices. Maybe say like Buhari has reached out to you to say like, this what you're doing is awesome. I have like £1 billion for you to pick up. And how do you keep fit financially?
Yeah, thank you very much. But like we know, the community or the society we're in, finance is a really huge topic, and it's something that we are deficient of. So, basically, starting my organization, I actually started it with personal funds and family funds, and maybe family and friends, because no organization will support you if they don't see what you've done or what is on ground. So starting up, I started, the little advocacy I had. I concentrated on doing zero budget, activities and projects, and then going further, individuals that believed in the dream, friends that believed in me, associates that believed in me, they supported. Like I said, I always had a career. I always have a career. So having Boundless Hands Africa is my passion. I'm a procurement specialist. So I worked in Delta Africa Engineering for 5 years. I moved to IHS Towers where I worked for 4 years. I took some time off to go to school for 2 years. And even while in the US, I interned with the United Nations and I worked with Pathfinder International. So through all this journey, I have a career. And then the organization is there being funded by, me, individuals, and organizations. So after we grew for some time, we started to focus on private sector because I had, experience working in private sector. A lot of private sectors have CSRs that support, NGOs. And that was my focus because how much does the government have to give you?
Yeah.
In fact, the government is owing. We're in debt. So the focus basically was getting funding from individuals that believed in my dream, private sector organizations, and then partnership with government parastatals because the government will not give you money, but they are ready to support your cause. And that's how we've been, financing ourselves so far.
Wow, amazing. You're married. And
This question always comes up.
you said you told us that you have two kids, a boy and a girl.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so being I don't want to call you a feminist, are you?
But anyhow, you can
Okay.
call me anything.
Okay, because
The real meaning of feminism, yes, I am a feminist.
you are a feminist. Now, what's your definition of a feminist?
So feminism have different definitions. For me, I define it as I'm interested in the cause of women and girls, and not as fights or as arguing that we want to take over or want to be the head or the neck or whatever. Mine is equal opportunities, equal avenues should be given to both men and women so that we'll have a fair playing ground. So you can label me a feminist.
So, how are you able to combine your personality? Because feminism, what you stand for is you. Now, sometimes when people see you speak, they tend to see the who you are, even before yourself. How do you manage family and being a founder of an NGO, being an author, being someone who doesn't even sit in one place, someone who is always, hey, I just want to help this woman, I just want to help this, someone who is always particular about other people's worries. How do you combine this? Do your children have, enough time to spend with you? The love.
So the people that know me very well know that family is everything to me. So in as much as I'm doing all this, family time is family time. So recently, a lady reached out to me, just like this question. I was talking about this book somewhere, and she was like, "How do you do this? Like, how do you work? You work, you earn money, you do NGO, you have children, you have that." And I told her that NGO money cannot give me the kind of life I want to live. As you can see, I'm shining.
Yes, so
Yeah. So I have to work extra hard. And that is it. Like, I have my talent, I have my capacity, I have my skills in different things that I use to pay my bills. NGO money is NGO money to help people.
an NGO money, we don't even see them because
Exactly.
you guys tend to give.
I even put my
Always
money
giving and
in
not
it.
getting in return.
Exactly. I remember when I started, my husband was like, "We can't continue like this. So you go, you work from Monday to Friday, you use all the money, and you help people." But when something becomes part of you, you cannot relent. Coming back to your question, getting married and getting the support from my husband is ultimate. So even while we were dating, he knew the kind of dreams and hope I had. So I always advise the younger ones, when you want to get married, please get married to somebody that your dreams align. He is totally doing something different from what I do, but he understands that this is this lady's dream. And he's so supportive. And that's all you can get. If you get somebody that supports your dream and understands who you are. And then the main thing is that you have to show that person who you are before you enter marriage. So even while we were dating, he knew I started attending conferences in South Africa, around the world, at the age of 17, 18, when I was in undergraduate. So we knew all these things and he's ready to support. And then when it comes to my children, like I always say, I don't bargain children time for anybody. So we have that time that we, no matter how late I come back home, the period I'm not around, fine. When I come back, I make it up. I make sure I'm involved in their school, their homework, their clothing, their food, whatever they eat. Like, we have that understanding. And when I'm not there, the father is there to support. When the father is not there, because he too is doing something very taxing and he travels always. When he's not there, I'm there. So we find a way to balance. So what I tell women is that you can't afford to say because you are taking care of kids, you don't have time to empower yourself. What is your personal development? How are you empowering yourself to do what you really want to do? Because nobody will help you. You have to be the one to say, this is what I want to do and this is how I go about it. So for my master's, I finished school like 10 years ago and I decided that I wanted to do master's. Nobody bought the form for me. Nobody filled my application for me. I did it myself. So it's High time women stop complaining, because if we're saying we want to get to the table of leadership, you got to bring something to that table.
So this is to say that you're not really. Let me not say really. You're not. You don't live a boring life.
Oh no.
Do you have recreational time?
Oh yes, yes.
Okay.
So one very good support system I have, I mentioned before, are my friends. So I have friends that we went to secondary school together, and we've been friends for over 20 years. And when we have anything to do, we create it in a way that everybody will be involved. Like this weekend, my friend's daughter is turning one, and like my children have been talking about it for 2 weeks. So at least this weekend, we know we're spending time with her family. She's having a little party and all that. So I tell people that my network is my net worth. Who are those people that you're associating yourself with when you need something? When I started planning this book, I just reached out to 2, 3 people, and the support I've gotten is huge. The book launch is going to be massive, just because of those people. I say they are my network. Before you call them, they say, "Oh, I know this person. I know this person somewhere. Oh, this person can do this." So, like I always say, associate yourself with people that will encourage you, that will, increase your capacity, and you yourself, you owe that to yourself to continue to empower yourself, to continue to learn new skills, to continue to capacitate yourself with relevant skills right now. Because if you don't keep doing that, I'm not. We're talking to Gen Z on Youth Day. I'm not Gen Z. Gen Z people are thinking, very fast. They are very calculate. They are very technical. They know how to use computers. Will I say I won't learn how to do all those things? So you need to keep, empowering yourself as a
Empowering
woman
yourself.
and as a girl.
Updating yourself.
Yeah.
At your book launch, you'll be having the event, say, in another 2 weeks,
Less than.
less than 2 weeks. Give us all the. We would like to
Yeah,
come. Give us, and of
obviously, and
course,
everybody is
our
invited.
viewers,
Yeah.
everything. Is it strictly by invitation, or
So it's really not strictly by invitation, but we don't have a big space. We have a seating for just 150 people. So
that is big?
exactly. So yeah, it's holding at a hotel and suits, the Africa, Asia, and America room. It's on the 27th of August. That's next week, Saturday by 12 noon. And basically, what we are going to be doing is book launch and donation drive. We're trying to raise money to print 10,000 copies of Emerge. That's the first phase of this project, so that we can distribute it to the people that really need it, the people that are at the risk of, encountering gender-based violence, especially women and boys and girls, women and men in, underserved communities, and also at the forefront of, giving services to sexual and gender-based violence victims. And I just, tell people that that one extra copy you buy and donate can save a life. Those 2 extra copies, or 5 copies, 10 copies, 1 million copies that you're going to say, Boundless Hands, please share it to this community, is definitely going to change life. Because anybody that reads this book, whether it's a woman or a man or a boy or a girl, we have, an idea of how to break the cycle of gender-based violence in our community. And that is what we wish for. When we can create a safe, community for everybody.
So, if one, do you have sponsors already? Do you have some sponsors on the project, or if one wants to sponsor the book launch, how do we reach out
Yeah,
to you?
so please, the number is there, 080-360-23073. Titilayo Ogubambi. You can find me on social media. You can find Boundless Hands Africa on social media. We also have a website that has a hotline, www.boundlesshandafrica.org. Any of these means you can reach us.
Okay, can you say your number again?
080-360-23073.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you see yourself in the next 10 years before we round up?
Wow, 10 years is a long time.
And add it to your general advice to mothers. I want it to come from the mothers down to the grassroots.
Yeah, true. So in 10 years time, or even before then, one of the things I'm working on is I mentioned that we have limited number of women in leadership positions. I definitely don't want to be a politician, but I will be serving somewhere in the world. And I think because of the experience I have, or the capacity I will have by then, I'll probably be called upon to create solutions in Nigeria. I always tell people that Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is my mentor, even though from a far distance. She was working at the World Bank when she was called upon by the government of Nigeria. So I see myself as somebody like that because my aim is to create solutions. And the aim is also to bring forth and encourage more women to be in leadership positions. And I hope to be able to be in one leadership position very soon. I also forgot to mention that I have a network. It's called Leading Women's Network Africa. We have over 200 and something ladies in that network where I mentor them. We're mentoring them to become African female leaders in the nearest future. And that's one other network I have.
Your advice.
My advice to every woman, like I always say, what is that additional thing that you're bringing to the table? You need to continue to empower yourself. You need to continue to capacitate yourself. You need to continue to make decisions that is not clouded by people's judgment. What is that thing you want to do for yourself? What is that thing you aim to do and you got to go for it? Nobody will do it for you if you don't do it for yourself. Thank you.
Oh, Titilayo Ogunbambi, yes, it's been an awesome time with her in the studio, and you would agree with me that we've had to learn a lot, a whole lot. Yeah, is there something that you still want to know about her? There's a particular place that she didn't touch today for you. You can catch her across all social media platforms, and of course, do well to follow because she is the founder of Boundless Hands Africa. Just, slot it in. Google has made life easy. Even when you type Titilayo Ogunbambi, Ogunbambi. When you search, you would see her. And of course, if you have any questions, you have a complaint, you have an observation, and you have something to say to her personally, reach out to her across all social media platforms. And of course, you've seen her phone number. You can also reach out to her on her WhatsApp platform. Please do not disturb with calls. You can send text messages. She will definitely get back to you when she sees it. Do not forget that a whole lot of traffic are on that line. Do mean well to be patient because you will be served, and of course, you will be met at the point where you need to be met. This is definitely where we'll be drawing the curtains on Breaking Barriers today on Newsbuster NGTV. Many thanks to our technical guys for making this a dream come true today. I definitely hope that when next we come back with another big guest, it's going to be a different topic entirely. You have something to say to us, you want to follow, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube platform, and of course, all the social media pages. It's at Newsbuster NGTV. My name is Olayinka Olatunji saying many thanks for being a part of this show today. Until next time, when I will come your way again, I wish you peace, progress, and of course, the best that life can give. Have a good day.